All right. Good morning. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are excited to be finally in May. This year is flying by. I know it's flying by for all of you as well. There's a ton of Microsoft updates going on, so we are excited to bring them to you this month. All righty. So, table of contents, what are we going to go through today? I'm going to go through a quick round of introductions, who you're going to be hearing from. We're going to hear from program updates. We're going to talk about tech for nonprofits. We've got AI readiness coming your way with Copilot. And then last but not least, we are going to talk with Cyrisma. So today you are going to hear from your Pax8 team. If I've not had the chance to meet you, I'm Kristen Fehrenbach, the Senior Director of our Microsoft Go-to-Market business here at Pax8. Ashley Moretti, she's going to talk to you about all things program updates. From there, you're going to hear from Patham, who's going to talk about nonprofit here at Pax8. Last but not least, we're going to hand it over to Joe Scanlon. He is going to go through AI readiness with Copilot. Then our special vendor. Excited to welcome Liam from Cyrisma. So actually, Liam and I just did a technically unraveled session pretty recently, so really excited to hear a little bit more about Cyrisma at the close of this session. But let's go ahead and dive right in because there's always a lot of program updates. Ashley Moretti, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Kristen. Good morning, everybody. I'm just going to take over screen share real quick, so give me just 2 seconds. All right, so we should have screen share good to go. Perfect. All right, so first things first that we're going to jump into today is public sector for NCE. But before we get started there, like Kristen said, there's a lot that's always going on in programs, and we want to make sure you as our partners fully understand what you should be paying attention to and what's paying attention to and what's important for your business. So if you at any time have any questions around the content that I'm sharing, feel free to post a question in the chat. I'll get to them after I'm presenting. Feel free to take a screenshot of this information, but also know this information will be made available to you on demand after the webinar is over. So don't panic if you're trying to take notes and I'm going fast, just trying to make additional time for some of the other presenters we have for today. So public sector for NCE, this is supposed to be part of the Microsoft-led migration and was supposed to kick off here May 1st, which was just a couple of days ago. However, Microsoft has announced that there are going to be some postponements or some delays to the transition. The first one being May 1st was supposed to be the last day to purchase legacy public sector products. If you're also not sure what public sector means, that's your government and government, nonprofit, and education SKUs. We kind of combine those and follow Microsoft's terminology and say public sector for those, so it's all encompassing. Like I said, the last day that you were supposed to be able to purchase those was going to be May 1st, but Microsoft has postponed those, and that's now August 1st. So you still have a little bit more time to be planning your transition for your public sector customers and can purchase legacy if you need to for any reason up until that date. Additionally, Microsoft's going to kickstart their Microsoft-led transition, which means they're going to transition all customer subscriptions that are still on legacy for public sector to NCE for you if you as the partner do not take action and do this for yourself. That was supposed to kick off July 1st of this year, but that has been postponed and now delayed until September 1st. So again, some extra time. And then what we all like to know about is, right, how do we make money on the back end? How do we make our business more profitable with the subscriptions we sell? So your legacy incentives will remain for legacy business that has not transitioned to NCE until March 1st, 2025. But remember, if you have a renewal that's coming up after September 1st, Microsoft will auto transition that for you, and then as soon as you're on NCE, you'd be eligible to earn the MCI incentives. But your subscriptions will stay on NCE, on legacy until they move to NCE at their renewal. And so because of that, Microsoft's extending the date a little bit further out to May 1st, 2025. Additionally, if you're ready to make the transition today, or you want to start with some new public sector customers on NCE, you can do so, as the NCE products are live in the Pax8 marketplace today. So you have the option to either continue purchasing on legacy or move to NCE if you want to get started ahead of the transition. If you do get started ahead of the transition, Microsoft does have a promotion that's available for month-to-month customers. This allows for that monthly commitment to be priced at the annual commitment price to ease the transition, because we know that public sector customers love the flexibility and need the flexibility to meet some of their demands. So the promotion will be automatically applied during the checkout process. And the promotion that will waive the 20% premium is available on Business Standard, Business Premium, ME3, and ME5. So just make sure you check that out as well, because it's a great incentive to get started today. Okay, so the next topic, GDAP, known as Granular Delegated Admin Permissions. We have been working on our GDAP momentum since last year. We had built a GDAP tool that made it easy for you as the partner to associate GDAP relationships between Pax8 and the end customer. In our platform. And then Microsoft also did a transition for those customers who hadn't been transitioned to GDAP. Because of this, it's important that every year we're reevaluating what our GDAP security posture looks like and making sure that we're talking about it, because we want security to be always top of mind and be in the best ecosystem as possible. And the Microsoft-led transition last year only allowed for GDAP relationships to be created for 1 year. If you were a Pax8 partner last year and your customer was associated with us and went through the Microsoft-led transition, those GDAP relationships will be expiring starting June and July. So we want to make sure that we're auto-extending those on behalf of you as the partner, to ensure that you don't have to create any new GDAP relationships. Pax8 sent out a notice around this just a few weeks ago, informing partners that we would be auto-extending the relationship. And so we want to make sure that you're aware of what we're doing, especially when it has to do with your end customer tenants. Again, we want to keep security top of mind and want to make sure it's tight as possible. And so therefore, this is why we're extending it. We feel comfortable with the relationship roles that we have today. Additionally, though, this is only for those relationships that are established between Pax8 and the end customer. So you as the partner are also responsible for maintaining your relationships between you and the end customer. So if you went through those Microsoft transitions as well, you should log into your partner center and go and check out all your GDAP relationships and make sure that you can auto renew them before they expire, because we want to make this also easy for you, and that way you're not having to regenerate relationships with your customer and creating more work when you should be focusing on selling and maybe the legacy to NCE transition if you're a public sector partner as well. So if you have any questions, please reach out to your accountant team on this. They can definitely walk you through it. And then we also have this information in our newsletter. And again, there was a communication that went out as well to all Pax8 partners. So a couple different ways that you can find this information. All right, third topic, Microsoft 365 with suites without Teams. So in April, Microsoft decided that they were no longer going to offer M365 suites with Teams going forward, and any new customer would have to purchase what we call an unbundled version, which means you have to purchase M365 separately, and if you need Teams, you can purchase that as an add-on SKU. So any subscription that is purchased on or after April 1st, 2024 would need to be purchased in this two kind of tier model, right? Your Office suite and then your Teams on the side if you need it. But if you had an existing subscription that was already in flight, right, already active, already provisioned prior to April 1st, 2024, then you can continue to have your customers utilize those services without any impact to their business. Their subscriptions will continue to renew, which is great. So you don't have to worry about purchasing Teams separately as of today. And if that changes, we'll let you know. But right now they are grandfathered in. And this also applies to modifications as well. So if you have to make a quantity increase on a subscription, that quantity increase will also inherit the Teams feature as part of the suite. The only thing that this does not account for is that if you're going from an upgrade, so you're going from one product to another. So say you have Business Premium and then you're moving to, an E3, for example. That is considered a new subscription on that customer tenant. The customers never purchased that subscription before, and so, or they don't have an active subscription today. So because of that, it would require you to purchase Teams as a standalone, and you wouldn't get Teams included in that upgrade. So I have a question here. I see, what does Microsoft consider a suite for Teams purchasing purposes? So your suite is going to be your it would be all business SKUs, so business standard, basic, and premium. And then it would be your M365 E1, E3, E5, your O365 E1, E3, E5, your frontline SKUs, your education SKUs, etc. One thing I will point out here is that your business products will continue to still have Teams on them. So apologies, I should not have listed those off when I was naming products. Business SKUs still have Teams attached to them, but essentially anything else that comes with like your Office application, so your Excel, Word, etc., will no longer have Teams as part of that suite of products and will be required to purchase separately. Another question, so as long as the account tenants had those subscriptions prior to April 1st, 2024, they are grandfathered. Correct. They are grandfathered in, so they will continue to renew and they will continue to also work as intended. So what is the name and cost of the Teams license for M365 customers? So it's going to be the Teams standalone version in our platform. In our marketplace, you can go in and you can find it. It's just going to be Teams by itself. And then the suites, like, right, you still need to purchase your M365, O365. That's going to have no Teams in parentheses. So you'll see like M365 or Microsoft 365 E3, and then in the parentheses, it will say no Teams. So you know that you're purchasing the one with no Teams. Also in the product description, it also notes that this is for customers who are purchasing after April 1st and will need to purchase Teams as a standalone. So Matt, just real quick, I'll highlight this one more time, then we'll move on. I want to make sure we have enough time, and I'll answer additional questions in the chat. But the question is, I'm confused, what SKUs will and will not keep Teams? So your business products will keep Teams. That's your business standard, premium, and basic. Everything else will not keep Teams. So that's going to be your Office 365 and your M365 licensing. All right, we're going to move on. Please still keep putting your questions in the chat. We'll happily get to them either after I'm done presenting, or we have many people on the back end who can also jump in and answer those questions. And I'll get to what we'll put in the chat also. What are the suites? What's considered that? We'll get to that question as well. All right, M365 Copilot. So I think we'll hear a little bit more about Copilot and some of the other program sections that are coming up, but want to touch on this really quickly because we know Copilot is top of mind for you guys. It's a very exciting product, and everybody's working to get their environment secured and ready to transition those customers to be able to use Copilot as well. Microsoft has expanded some of the prerequisites that are required to be able to provision Copilot in the end customer environment. So now that includes Business Basic. Before, that was not included. So if you have Business Basic, you're now eligible for Microsoft 365 Copilot if you wish to purchase it for your customers. And then Office 365 E1 has also been expanded into the list of prerequisites. Additionally, Microsoft 365 for Copilot has recently been expanded into the education segment. So those who are on the A SKUs can also purchase Copilot. if they would like to. And then same for Frontline. Microsoft recently announced that Frontline subscriptions are also available for Microsoft 365 Copilot. So if you have any questions around Copilot, great opportunity to connect with your sales team and talk through that strategy, especially now if you have a customer who fits into one of these new categories who has been waiting maybe to get on Copilot as well. All right, we're nearing the end, I promise. Like I said, I know it's a lot, and you can always get this information afterwards or in our newsletter as well. But Microsoft last week announced that SQL Server 2014 is going to become an end of life product. It's hitting its 10 years. We're in 2024, so that transition mark date will be in July of this year, July 9th to be exact. And if you have any customers who are on this on-premise product and need to retain services, there's a couple different ways that you can go about that. The first one is to just modernize SQL with Azure and move really to an full cloud environment. So this is moving off-premise and into the cloud. The second one is kind of a hybrid approach, and it's extending your 2014 SQL Server, but using Azure Arc. This was available starting as of last week, May 1st. And then the third option is to remain on-premise and purchase extended support product SKU separately to make sure that your SQL Server environments are staying secure. And those products will become available on April 1st. Will become available on June 1st of this year. So we have a couple more weeks so those end of service SKUs for support are released. But again, this is a great time to connect with, if you have an Azure account member on your team, connect with them. If you're not sure, connect with your account team member, such as your CAM, and they'll be able to help you understand what is the best way to continue to transition with those SQL servers. All right. Dynamics pricing. This is one kind of in the future, not effective until October, but we want to make sure we start talking about it now because we know pricing increases are things that you need to incorporate into quoting, need to incorporate into renewals. And so the Dynamics workspace will be seeing a pricing increase in October on all of their products for commercial, and then government offers will see a small pricing increase this year and then another pricing increase next year. So they're splitting it up into two waves, but you can see here the majority of the popular products are going to be impacted. We don't have official pricing yet from Microsoft, so it is hard for us to let you know exactly what the price will be come October. Microsoft has released some preview pricing, and this information can be found in our newsletter that's going out this week, so keep an eye out for that. But again, if you have questions on what that preview pricing would be, it's all in USD currency, so unfortunately we don't have the other markets released by Microsoft yet. But we can certainly start to share the preview pricing with you. It's also listed in the Microsoft Partner Center announcement. So if you want to go grab that yourself, you can also go ahead and see it. But again, we want to make sure that you're aware of this and you understand what's going to happen to your end customer subscriptions, because pricing increases are something that definitely need to be talked about. Dynamics 365 Business Central. I think Business Central is the one that is not increasing. Though there was one product, I can double check for you and I can confirm in the Partner Center announcement, but that was the one product I believe that was not going to be impacted.
Got it. And so just for clarity, I saw that question come in. So Bruce was asking, will Dynamics 365 Business Central be increasing with all of these other dynamic SKUs? And so it is our assumption right now that that is not part of that increase. Just want to make sure we get that question. Yeah. I do have another one, Ashley, while I have you for just a moment, if you don't mind.
Sure.
You know, I know there's a lot of confusion with some of the announcements and the way they came out with the unbundling of teams. So can you talk to me about, will grandfathered teams be able to keep those licenses forever, or is it only until the next renewal?
So as of right now, they will be able to keep those licenses forever until Microsoft says otherwise. However, there's a one caveat to this. If your customer is, I hate to say this, leaving you as a partner, we hope that never happens, but we know that it happens, and they're going to somebody else, they will, if they purchase a new subscription, then they will not be able to take that existing subscription with them, and they will have to purchase new. I say that because it's the same for vice versa for you, and if you're gaining a customer from somebody else. When Microsoft does release their partner-to-partner transfer tool, there should be some options for your indirect provider to be able to move that grandfather subscription from one provider to another on behalf of you, so that way you and your customer can keep those grandfather SKUs, but that tool is not released yet. So again, and we haven't seen much of that tool yet either, so it has to stay active. The moment that the subscription becomes deactive or canceled, then the only option is to purchase net new and separate out the suite from the teams.
Awesome. All right, Ashley, there's going to be more questions coming in the chat. I know you're going to hang out with us. We are also going to have a live Q&A at the very end. We don't let Ashley leave until we are done, everybody. But thank you for your time, Ash. We're going to come back to you in a little while, and we are going to go over to Patham. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Ashley. I saw one question coming in for around, does the Dynamics 365 price increase also be applicable for nonprofits? I'm going to quickly answer that before I go into my section. Yes, it will be. You will see a similar percentage increase for nonprofits as well for those Dynamics 365 SKUs. But hey, let's talk about tech for nonprofit. My name is Patham, and I am the Microsoft Tech for Social Impact Manager at Pax8 today. I want to give you an overview of Pax8's Tech for Nonprofit program. We will explore the nonprofit market opportunity, what solutions are available in Pax8 Marketplace to serve this sector, and how Pax8 can support your business growth while making a positive impact in the world. So, the mission of our program is to curate a diverse selection of SaaS solutions tailored to address the distinctive requirements of nonprofits worldwide. And through strategic collaboration with our vendors and resellers, we want to make these solutions affordable and accessible to nonprofits. Ultimately, we want the power of technology in the hands of nonprofits, empowering them to make a positive impact in their communities. Our vision is Pax8 to become the channel's preferred marketplace to purchase technological solutions for nonprofits throughout the world. This program is built on three main pillars. First one is marketplace curation. That is basically identifying solutions that are hyper relevant to the nonprofit sector and making them affordable and accessible through our marketplace. Then comes reseller development. That is enabling and empowering our partners to go to market in this vertical, helping them grow their business while doing good to the world. And finally, the most important pillar is social impact. Nonprofit organizations worldwide work tirelessly to address some of the world's most challenging problems, whether it is providing education to rural communities, offering shelter to the homeless, funding research to cure diseases, or serving local communities. Their overall mission is to make the world a better place. At Pax8, we believe it is our shared responsibility and opportunity to support this sector in need. This program is about building partnerships with vendors and MSPs who share similar values to make this mission a reality. Serving nonprofit customers can have a meaningful impact on your business, and the market opportunity is immense. With an estimated 10 million nonprofits worldwide, it is one of the largest and fastest growing sectors globally. There are more than 100 million people employed in nonprofits. In America, 1 in 10 employees are working for a nonprofit organization. Despite the misconception that nonprofits lack funding for IT spending, the truth is that nonprofits globally spend over $150 billion annually on technology. The global market size for cloud solution is a massive $32 billion. A recent report published by Nonprofit Technology Enterprise Network shows that 69% of organizations in this vertical has an annual budget over $1 million. This is the market that we want to help you to tap into. And if you're looking for a partner to support your go-to-market in this sector, you should look no further. Pax8 already has more than 4,000 partners serving over 12,000 nonprofits globally. More than half of the resellers who buy Microsoft nonprofit solutions in America buys it through Pax8. Pax8 is the #1 partner of Microsoft serving the small to medium-sized nonprofits in the region and only the 3rd globally. Just a couple of months ago, Pax8 reached the milestone of 1 million nonprofit seats, and it continues to grow. So you can see why we are doubling down on this industry with our Tech for Nonprofit program. So why is industry specialization important? And this is applicable across all industries, not just nonprofits. When you build your skills and expertise in an industry, it certainly acts as a differentiator and gives you a competitive advantage. You understand your clients' unique needs and challenges better, and you can create repeatable processes to increase efficiency and effectiveness. This will lead to high customer satisfaction, helping you establish credibility and trust, attracting more clients from the same industry. And once you set the blueprint for one industry, you can easily tweak it to another. If the numbers around the market opportunity was not enough to convince you to build a practice targeting nonprofits, let me dive a little bit deeper into why you should. Not only it is one of the largest and fastest growing sectors globally, but it also opens up a new revenue stream for your business. You have already been serving the SMB sector, developing the necessary skills. You can leverage these skills and service to expand your offerings to this new sector as well. Additionally, serving the nonprofit sector aligns with the evolving business models focused on triple bottom lines: people, profit, and planet. Beauty of working with nonprofits is that you can have a significant impact across all 3 bottom lines. As the world increasingly emphasizes on sustainable business practices, serving the nonprofit sector can help create a positive work culture, attract and retain talent, enhance your brand image, and win business in other sectors as well. So the technological needs and pain points of nonprofits are not significantly different from any other customer. They too seek tools that seamlessly integrate, eliminate redundancies, and automate processes. They want to collect and store data securely and use that data impactfully. And managing their donors, volunteers, and beneficiaries well is key to their success. And to do that, they need to communicate effectively and work from anywhere. Essentially, they need technology that can help accelerate their mission. Our program's aim is to curate Pax8's marketplace with solutions that address these needs, so our partners are well equipped to help these organizations. There are significant gaps between the size of the market and the number of trusted technology providers available to serve the nonprofit sector. Nonprofits require partners who understand their needs, care about their mission, and can help them bridge the digital skills gap. Empowering nonprofit staff with technology skills has become a top priority since the pandemic. But it can be challenging when organizations rely on volunteers with a high turnover. Nonprofits recognize the gap between the donor expectation and the actual experience their current technology provides. They understand that digital transformation is the key to success, and 75% of nonprofits agree on this. This is where you come in. Licensing is only a small part of your revenue generator for MSPs serving this sector. It is your services that makes a real difference. With the impact to the customer's mission as well as your revenue, you can assist nonprofits with consultation, training, security audits, solution implementation, and managing their IT services. Your excellent work with one organization is likely to spread through nonprofit communities, bringing you more business opportunities. Earlier, I mentioned marketplace curation as our first pillar to the program. It is no secret that cost is by far the most important consideration in technology investments for nonprofits. In fact, a recent report published shows 78% of nonprofits agree with this. So if you want to sell more technology to nonprofits, we have to make it affordable. Microsoft is the true pioneer in this. Through Tech for Social Impact program, Microsoft has been delivering grants and discounts to nonprofit organizations for years. Majority of their catalog is heavily discounted for qualified nonprofits, and almost all of those cloud offerings are available through Pax8 Marketplace as well. Sometimes I'm truly surprised to see there are many nonprofits out there who is not taking advantage of these offerings. So if you have any nonprofit customers, I urge you to help them to go through the qualification process. While not all nonprofits qualify, there are more likely to qualify than not. I will drop in the link in the chat where you can get started. If you like to learn more about the eligibility criteria or have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or your account team. We are more than happy to help. With the Tech for Nonprofit program, Pax8 wants to take this beyond just Microsoft. IronScales and BitTitan has had nonprofit offers in Pax8 Marketplace for a while now. Our latest addition to the program is Dropsuite and MailGuard. And I want to highlight the Dropsuite nonprofit offer is exclusive to Pax8. You will not be able to find this offer anywhere else, including directly with Dropsuite. As we grow our program, you will see more and more logos added to this slide. You can find these offers in Pax8 catalog by filtering by vendor and industry. So the idea is to give our MSPs a variety of vendors so you can pick and choose to create a bundle that suits your client's needs and pain points. So this slide is showing an example scenario that addresses several common pain points of a typical small to medium-sized nonprofit. Nonprofits are at very high risk of attack by cybercriminals because of the sensitive data they hold and the vulnerabilities of their IT infrastructure. With offers available through Pax8 Tech for Nonprofit program, you can create a holistic security stack to address these challenges. But what does this really mean to you as a partner? How can you build a profitable business using these offers? Look at this scenario where a 30-seat nonprofit organization using only Microsoft grant licenses, like Business Basic. How can you improve their security posture with offers available from Pax8? Well, the first thing you should do is get all of your customers on Business Premium. It is the hero solution for SMB customers looking to uplift their security. And better yet, nonprofits get 10 Business Premium licenses for free. Then if you go and attach Dropsuite to ensure business continuity, MailGuard for email security, the customer is getting the whole stack for less than $10 per person per month. With Pax8's nonprofit offers, this customer is saving more than $600 per month. But most importantly, look at the difference it makes in your margins. Previously, you weren't making any margins from this customer, but with the complementary attachment, you are making more than $45. This is not only a great way to increase margins and improve stickiness, but at the same time, it delivers great value to your customer. And when you deliver value to your customer, they will know you have their best interest in heart, and they will help you to win more businesses as well. Then you can go ahead and attach your services, projects, consultation, etc. to improve your revenue. So that is the intention of our program, to give you a large portfolio of vendors catered towards nonprofits and enable and empower you to grow your business while doing good to the world. And the second pillar of our program is reseller development. Pax8 Academy is our main engine to run this. We have nonprofit specific on-demand courses, and we will continue to develop more as well. We have another great initiative to help our partners who is keen to build their practice in this vertical. Pax8 nonprofit partner communities. I invite you all to join these communities if they are available in your region. It helps you to stay up to date with all things nonprofit technology, and it also gives a great space to network with like-minded peers, learn from each other, and grow as a community. By joining these communities, you will get priority access to monthly community calls, nonprofit partner enablement sessions, go-to-market support, and customer acquisition opportunities as well. You can read some of the case studies in our website, and we will share the links with you. You can learn about how partners have taken advantage of these solutions and discounts available through Pax8. And if you have a great story to share, we would love to hear them. We are always on the lookout for good opportunities to bring these case studies to life, and you can share them through the form in the link as well. And you can use these case studies in your go-to-market activities as well. And visit our website to learn more, and you will also be able to download our latest partner playbook for the nonprofit sector as well. So in conclusion, I want to sum up a few actions you can take today to grow your business in the nonprofit space. Make sure you join the nonprofit partner communities if they're available in your region, and go check out the website to learn more and download the playbook. And finally, you can find all nonprofit offers in Pax8 catalog by filtering by vendor and industry. That concludes my presentation. Thank you everyone for joining today. Please feel free to reach out to me directly or through nonprofit@pax8.com to learn more.
Awesome. A lot of information, Patham. You have a couple of questions in the chat, but I know we're going to be running close on time. So please hang out with us if you can answer those, and then stick around for the Q&A.
Thank you very much.
All right. Joe Scanlon, thanks for joining us. I think this is your first showing on an MMU with us.
It is indeed.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me. I'll share my screen here. Thank you, Patham, and thanks everyone for being here on this fine Monday morning. Let me turn off these transcriptions. I hope everyone had a great weekend and great Cinco de Mayo if you celebrated it. I will be talking AI readiness and a little bit about Microsoft Copilot. I'll go over a few slides and then cut over to a short demo. So let's bust right into it. Here is a quick chart kind of showcasing the perceived value from customers on AI and various products. And what this shows us is the various times to reach 100 million users. So for mobile phones, it took 16 years. It took the internet 7 years. It took Facebook 4.5 years. Yet it only took ChatGPT 3 months to hit 100 million users. So AI is definitely the hot thing right now in the industry, and Microsoft Copilot is no different. So some early data points we've received so far, some of the pains before using Copilot and some of the gains on the right after using it. So back to the pains. 60% of leaders say a lack of innovation or breakthrough ideas is a concern. 64% of people have struggled with finding time and energy to get their work done. I can definitely relate to that one. And 70% of people indicated they would delegate as much as possible to AI to lessen their workloads. Okay, now fast forward to some of the gains after using Microsoft Copilot. 68% said Copilot improved the quality of their work. 70% said Copilot made them more productive. A personal testament to that, I save about at least an hour a week, so about 4 hours a month using Copilot. And 77% of Copilot users, after using it, did not want to give it up. But adopting these amazing AI tools does not come without risks. So some of the questions we have heard from our customers are, how do we know our data is secure? And I think this is one of the biggest differentiators for Microsoft Copilot, because Microsoft invests billions every year into protecting the security of their products and of their platform. And this includes Copilot, but also Microsoft 365, Azure, and Dynamics. And next question, when will we be able to audit Copilot usage? Well, you as users and admins of Copilot can do this at any time within the Microsoft admin platform, as long as you have permissions to review reports. Next up, what can I do to avoid overexposing our data? This is a huge question. I'll hit on this a bit, talking about SharePoint restricted search and Microsoft Purview, but also after my demo, we will cut over to Cyrisma, who's a great partner of ours, who will cover that. And lastly, where is my data processed? Again, I kind of hit on this, but this is what makes Microsoft Copilot unique, in that your data that you feed to the large language model is not used to train the overall model, unlike ChatGPT. So this is really what sets Microsoft apart, because Copilot is built on top of Microsoft's enterprise-grade security, compliance, privacy, and responsible AI. And digging a bit more into the large language model. As a user of Copilot, Copilot for Microsoft 365, it is using a copy of the latest and greatest OpenAI ChatGPT-4 large language model. And because it's a replica copy, the data you query and prompts you feed to the Copilot engine, again, that is not used to train the overall model. Whereas if you did not have Copilot and you were feeding personal information and business data to ChatGPT, that data would be used to feed the model. So back to the Microsoft ecosystem, if you use Copilot, you can further layer on Microsoft 365 security policies like data access and permissions and data protection, as well as data residency. So for many of you on this call, I'm sure you're either users or currently transacting Microsoft 365 Business Standard or Business Premium licenses. Here's some of the security features you can use right from the get-go. Of course, on Business Standard, there's a limited subset of security features such as basic multi-factor authentication. But Business Premium, which you may have heard is our hero SKU, it really takes things a step further in terms of security. You get to take advantage of conditional access policies, data loss prevention, and even data governance options. So if you're curious about data governance, at a first glance, data governance seems super boring, but it is incredibly important. A quick use case, why, if you are a business or an organization of, say, 50 employees, for obvious reasons, if you roll out Copilot, you may not want your front desk staffer to be able to query Copilot and ask about documents, the latest documents that the board of directors or CEO have discussed. So SharePoint restricted search is a recent feature that was released by Microsoft in March of 2024. If you have access to SharePoint, which I'm sure many, if not all of you on this call do have access, this is a free option to you. This feature is turned off by default, but if you're an admin or if you have SharePoint permissions, you can go in and turn this on. And basically, this will prevent certain SharePoint sites from showing up in the Copilot experience, as I mentioned, for that use case of CEO salary or board of directors documents. So this is available to you right now. Little note I want to add on there. Copilot will have less data to reference if you do roll this out. This could impact your overall experience, but if you do want to take data governance seriously, this is one of the tools you might want to consider. Now on the flip side, if you are a customer of the big dog Microsoft E5 licensing, this is included in it. You can also purchase this a la carte. but this is Microsoft's robust solution for data governance. And this covers everything from data security of Office 365 apps to data governance for your structured and unstructured data, as well as risk and compliance posture for your IaaS and SaaS workloads. So that's all I got in terms of slides. I'm going to cut over quick to show you a little bit about what the Copilot experience looks like. So starting high level, what I use the most is I go to copilot.microsoft.com. It logs me in with my jscanlin at pax8.com credentials. But as you can see here in the top left, I'll zoom in quick, you can toggle between a work and web experience. And really the difference between the two is in the work experience, you can query your internal work documents, which I'll demo here in a second. But also, if we cut over to web, you can search the web and use the GPT-4 model in either a creative, balanced, or more precise mode. So heck, let's try it out. Here's a fun example I tried a couple days ago. Please create a funny short story under 100 words about the trials and tribulations of someone working at an IT help desk. I like to demo this one because I think this is a good showcase of the potential creativity unlock of Copilot and using the GPT-4 large language model. This isn't just a factoid pulling neural network. This can use creativity. In this case, it talks about Gary, the unsung hero, battle the relentless forces of tech chaos. I'm not going to go into the whole story because I think you get the point, but this method is one of many Copilot features that's available to you. Now, say for example, I have a more business related thing I want to dig into. Please provide an executive, if I can spell, executive summary of this document. And from here, I can do a slash and it'll, if there's a document that currently exists in SharePoint or OneDrive that I have permissions to view, I can dump that in here. So in this case, I created a Teams Premium versus Copilot blog. So I'll just demo that. So I'll do AI blog. Here's my Teams Premium versus Copilot blog. Please provide me an executive summary of the data that's in this Word document. Let's see if it can comb through that and provide me the high level details. And voila, tells me everything from the price differences to some of the feature differences. So again, this is Copilot Chat that you can use for work and web, but Copilot for M365, as you might expect, lights up many of the M365 apps like Teams, Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, Excel. So I'll quick demo a few of those. I'll demo, let's do Teams. So in this case, here's an example. As you might see, I pulled over my Teams window a little bit so I don't expose too much internal information because I'm truly sharing an internal meeting that I had about a week ago demoing Copilot. And in that meeting, we turned on the recording, we turned on the transcription so that even during the meeting or afterwards, I can go into the recap and then use Copilot, you see here in the top right, and it can provide me a variety of prescriptive or custom prompts, or I can provide it. Just a personal use case here, you can use this experience to type whatever you want, like ask what products did I specifically cover or what have you. Honestly, I've found a better experience using the prescriptive prompts, such as generate meeting notes. So I'm gonna let that cook here just to show you what it'll fire back. What I love in particular about this feature is I can have more focused meetings, and then on the back end, I can use the Teams Copilot experience to generate meeting notes, and then I'll do a quick copy paste into my OneNote so that I have great meeting notes, but also a great in-person meeting experience. So here we go. It's going over some of the key topics, such as training status, partner engagement, Copilot, value prop. Boom, you get the point. Another example, say you as a business leader, say you're the CTO or CEO, and you were just forwarded an email chain that's 10 emails deep, and you don't have the time to dig into every reply that was in that email. Well, as you can see at the top here, we have Summary by Copilot. It can give you a summary of all the text that's relevant to you in an email chain. This is a shorter email chain, but the principle remains the same. Boom. Bandit provided me, Bandit, here's a summary of our interaction. And to take it one step further, if I wanted to reply and follow up, much like the Copilot for Web experience, I could do a slash here and draft with Copilot. Just a quick note on this one. I have found that it doesn't necessarily always carry over the tone of an email that I want to send. But what I do really like about this is it can draft up an email free of typos and in a very professional manner, which I can then curate a bit further. So for example, what might I say? Thank Bandit for reaching out. Please let him know I'd like to meet either Tuesday or Friday next week, and I'm excited to learn more. Boom. It's going to generate, not send this email, but it'll show you what it curates for you. And then you can either approve or modify it or accept it and change things before you actually send the email. Almost done here. Cool. Thank you for reaching out. I'm definitely interested in learning more about Pax8 community involvement. Boom, you get the point. I'll do a couple more demos quick, and then I'll cut back over to Cyrisma. So one more example in Microsoft Word. Say, for example, I have a tier 1 help desk, and I want to create an SOP, a standard operating procedure for rolling out, let's say, Defender for Business. So please create an SOP for implementing Defender for Business. And let's see what it comes up with. And just a spoiler here, compared to drafting the text for an email, this will also develop formatting. And as you can see, like in the text and on the left-hand column, it's including headers and dates and specific information that takes things quite a few steps further. So this would be like a quick one-pager on implementing Defender for Business. So one more example, let's see here. I could also use this to create a demo itinerary for Copilot. But for the sake of time, I will show you one more example for PowerPoint. And if I could quick direct your eyes to the top right, Copilot, this is often where you will find the Copilot experience within your Microsoft 365 apps. So in this case, you could either create a PowerPoint presentation from a file, or in this example, I'm gonna just prompt it. Let's say, create a presentation, I can type, about the history of Led Zeppelin. I like the music, so this is just a random example, but of course you could use Defender for Business, you could use Copilot, you could use, I don't know, Microsoft Sentinel. It's really up to your creativity. But what you'll see here is it'll create a series of slides. It'll create a title slide, but it'll also create speaker notes. So let's fact check here. We have a initial intro of the history of Led Zeppelin. The history can be traced back to 1968 when Jimmy Page formed the group by selecting Robert Plant, John Paul Jones, etc. So I hope that gave a good example of what you can get out of Copilot. I know it's a lot, spans across quite a few apps, but that's what I have for you today. I would just redirect you for if you're unsure, hesitant about adopting Copilot or adopting AI tools in general, really your first stop is data governance. And just to recap, easy button, SharePoint restricted search. That's free, available to you today. If you want to go the full robust option, you have Microsoft Purview available to you. But also, I will hand it over to Cyrisma, who has an interesting third option. So Liam, the floor is yours, sir.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. Kristen, I actually do have the presentation, so I'm actually going to share it on my screen, so then I can go straight into the demo from there. So let me get that set up here right now. But thanks, everybody. Just give me a second here to make sure I get the right thing to share. And here we go. Everybody, so we all,
Oh no, I think I lost your sound, Liam.
Mic check, Liam.
Mic check is.
Oh, you're
there
back.
We go.
There we go.
Awesome.
We hear you now.
Teams decide. That's why I said Teams today is not my friend. Seriously, it is not my friend today. All right, so apologize for everybody. Technical difficulties, typical.
I feel like you're messing with me now, Liam, because it's not working now.
It's starting to annoy me. It really is. I'm going to move out the thing and I'm just going to focus on this right now. The screen is starting to irritate me. Okay, so I'll start again, right? Difficulties, typical. Sorry about this, everybody, but this is not normal. But today's one of those things, the Monday blues, I guess. But as Joe mentioned earlier, AI is becoming a major part of our day-to-day business, whether we see that in our day-to-day life outside of work with AI, interaction with Siri to, Alexa, all these different things. It's now starting encroaching into a business as well. Yeah, we're not at a point where we have Skynet, so we don't have to worry about that. So don't worry about this. It's more about helping us and being better at what we're doing. But it does come with issues, and we look at not only at Microsoft Copilot, we've got ChatGPT, we've got Gemini, and it's all these things out there. It's supposed to help us to be efficient and more productive, to make ourselves even more readily available to people. We only work half days from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., but now AI can take the rest of the day, right? But if we look at this in what we're doing, it's basically taking that. We need to look at how we interact with AI, but looking at the lack of visibility into cloud data, right? Because we have a problem around that. Because we have SharePoint. Data is the new oil spill. It's everywhere. We have SharePoint, we have OneDrive, we have email, we have Teams. And we even have data outside of that realm that we use in the cloud, whether it's Dropbox and the areas that data is everywhere, but where AI is trying to bring that all together to allow us to be more productive. But the problem is that we have lack of visibility. We don't know where it is. We need to understand where that is before we establish and generate AI to be involved in our environment. Access controls, right? You look at it, think about it, the default settings that we come into our platform, we leave it at set. Like Microsoft, it's everyone has access, right? It's the easiest thing. We'll worry about that later and we'll come back to it, and we never do. We look at how do we make sure that we meet the requirements to adequately implement AI through a readiness assessment. And are we doing that to really establish, can we really effectively use AI, not only in a secure manner, but in an effective manner? But we don't want to be in a situation where we have interns seeing data that they're not supposed to. It needs to be on a need-to-know basis, and we need to be very careful around that. So we need to look at saying to ourselves is basically understanding, like I said before, where is our data located, right? Who has access to that data? Is that data sensitive, where whether you're using Purview or you can't afford to use Purview because of the cost associated with it? We can help you with that with data sensitivity scanning. But who's that information shared with? Because we think of all the things that we're doing internally and putting permissions in place, but then once we click on share, how are we setting up the defaults of those shares when we share that link to an outside entity, right? And are we willing to take the steps to really implement solid security settings before we roll out a solution as Copilot? Make sure we have the actual readiness assessment done, but then the action items from that readiness assessment, are we going to implement those and then have an ongoing basis that it's a checks and balance? Every so often, reassess it. Don't just do it once and done, because that's a key thing around this. Because again, data is what everybody's after. The bad actors, whether it's external from ransomware to hackers, but even internal people by making mistakes, they need to be aware of what's happening. So we need to know where that data is to be really establishing I hate using the term zero trust, but really with zero trust, we need to know, and so we can build concentric rings around it and not leave ourselves open for data leakage. So how do we help with Cyrisma? Start off with, we do have the ability to integrate directly into Office 365 through our integration process. So what does that do? That allows you then to be able to set up direct individual scans for data sensitivity within SharePoint, OneDrive, and your email. But also then moving into compliance by finding out, okay, let's see who we are for Microsoft Secure Baseline. Are we implementing security settings that we're supposed to be setting up to enhance the security within Azure/Office 365? Can we look at our Entra ID or Azure AD configurations in the sense of, okay, how many users do we have? What users are into what groups? Do we have Microsoft Office 365 groups, especially when they're being assigned to have access to various different data sets? But then also with compliance is then the GRC module of the readiness assessment. Filling in each individual question, whether you answer that yourself or assign that to an individual for them to provide feedback, and then from there to be able to generate a report that you can personalize for your clients to say, here's the steps that we've done, here's the things that we've discovered, and here's the action plan. And then the ability to present your report. Now, the report itself, you can give that to a via PDF, but then also to have that supplemental backup by actually logging into Cyrisma and showing them where the sensitive data is located and who potentially has access to that data. Because that's the key thing that we really need to get across, is that it's not as simple as getting a tool, implementing it, and then having let it run loose. We need to make sure that we rein it in so we know that it's working the way we need it to work. So that's the key thing that we want to do here. Cyrisma is a little bit more than that, and we'll go through that in the actual demo itself and just give you a little bit of a background. The reason with Cyrisma was that, everybody talks about defense in depth. You talk about perimeter and all the different layers of security. But we wanted to flip that on its head and say, okay, everybody's after the data. Let's focus on the data itself. Then from there, work out to see if those systems that house that data, are they vulnerable? And are those systems securely configured? And then that brought in other features like security scorecard and benchmarking and other things around that to allow you to be proactive around cybersecurity or even cyber hygiene, depending on how you want to discuss it, but giving you the information that you'll be able to actively be proactive to mitigate risks before they become a problem. And also it shows you value with your partners or your clients to establish a trust level that's even deeper than before, but also show them that there's a level of responsibility on both sides. Because it's not only a situation where you as the MSP or a user of Cyrisma is that you have to take accountability, but also business owners need to take accountability as well when it comes to cybersecurity, because it's now part of our business. It's no longer a bolt-on. It has to be looked, because they could lose business from contracts. There's vendor risk assessments that people have to complete, and if they don't meet a certain requirement, there may be changes in contracts or different things like that. So it's always be good to be working in a situation where you can be proactive and increase their security posture. So what I want to do is I want to kind of jump into a demo. There's essentially a lot to do with that with the product, but we'll just go through the Copilot function first, and then we'll just open it up to other areas of the actual platform itself for discussion. So I'm just going to bring this up right here. Just bring up my browser. Okay. So what you see here is what we call our overall risk dashboard. That not only yourself is able to see, but you also have the ability to allow your clients to log in. Okay. Now, when we're jumping into this, when you first set up a customer, this is pretty much going to be blank. There's going to be no data in here itself. So what you want to do is, if you're going to go straight into Microsoft Copilot and looking at how to establish the readiness assessment and get all the data that you would need, the first thing you would do would automatically, when you create the instance, would go to admin, and you would click on a thing called integrations, and then you would follow the instructions that we provide to you to set up the integration for the different permissions that are required. Once you've filled in this and you feel that you've got it all configured, you can click on verify credentials. It will come back and say credentials are valid. Now from there, you can jump right into compliance. And what will happen then is it will start bringing in your Microsoft Secure stored data, and then you'll be able to see exactly where you are in configurations, but also allows you to drop down and see things that are either being complete or in progress, or in things such as not started yet, but orders of ranking of simplicity to expensive, right? To a lot more effort associated with it. But we do provide you details. We also provide you the steps, but also provide you directly to the link to bring you to that location within the Azure portal. And that's a key thing because, you know, Microsoft changes from one day to the next. So yesterday could be a location, but tomorrow's in a different view or look and feel. Your engineers can't remember everything. We want to be able to provide that for you. But as you subscribe to more services in Microsoft, the more things that you would need to configure to enhance the security of Office 365, which goes and enhances the integration of Copilot as well by putting things in place that you need to do. Also, with the monitoring capability, you're able to set up and monitor the view of your Azure AD to be able to get information in place and set that up. That's very quick, easy things to do. And what that will do is we'll give you, I'm just going to show you some results here, just to give you some, this is within our demo environment. So you go to Azure AD, you'll be able to see exactly what users they are. Now, of course, remember these things is that when you see a last logon date and it's got dashes in there, they're using the free version. That's where you need to look at P1 or above to get more information, to be able to drill down and get information on what's happening and who's accessing to what. And this is what I was mentioning before about the security groups. So you can start looking at your Office 365 groups. You can look at groups with users and start seeing who has access to what, so you can see entitlement reviews. When you're assigning groups to your SharePoint or OneDrive and so forth, you can make sure that the appropriate people are in there and so forth, so you're not opening it up to areas that are not supposed to see access to data. And that's the same thing with Copilot as well. Now, once that's completed and you start collecting that data, you're then able to then go straight into creating a scheduled scan. And with that scheduled scan is now you can say, I want to do SharePoint, right? Give it a name. I'll just put a bunch of gobbledygook in there. And then basically you'll see what you can actually scan for. So remember, the thing we have here is common, crosses finance, healthcare, and PII, and organizational. Well, common is the common things that bad actors are after. Now, depending on the organization, you can select common. If it's healthcare, there's various things that you can select and look for. You just want to look for regular PII. But then you'll see at the bottom is what we see is active SharePoint sites that we can go ahead and scan and start seeing the schedule scan, whether you schedule it now or in the future. You're able to start collecting that data directly in there. And then that will, once it's finished, you'll see that in history. And then you'll be able to drill down directly into that. So if I click on SharePoint, I can look at roller skates, and then go through and look at the data results from that. I can see and I can drill down. If I want to see stuff there, I could see it right into here, and then I can take a look, and then you got stuff like this, right? And you can see exactly if it's password in there. Now that's how you can drill down contextually to show customers once you've done the actual compliance GRC aspect. Now, if we go into Microsoft Secure Score, we see a thing up here called Compliance Assessment, right? Now, this one here is completed, but if I actually just click on the first section, which is step 1, it's now going to ask you various questions like total number of users in your organization, what type of licenses do you have, and so forth in there, right? But again, you don't have to fill this or yourself. You can actually assign this to a user that you've created and give them a time frame. There's also the ability for them to provide evidence. Maybe the situation, they don't know numbers. They upload all their documentation for Microsoft in their portal, and you upload it, and then you count it for them and put the number in. Whatever the situation is, you can interact with your clients to be able to provide you information. Now, as you go through this, it is dynamic. So if I take that away, you'll see that there's no question being answered, but you'll see that if I change it, it is answered. Now, there is multiple choice questions that you can follow through and go with and answer. And each one will have a scoring associated with it. And you'll see that once you're able to generate the report itself, right? Productivity tools, then we go into data security, the various different things. And then you can say, okay, I'm finished. I've answered everything. Now I'm ready to generate my report. Now, my report that I'm going to generate, this is where I've actually analyzed the answers that I have. I'm going to provide a conclusion, right? And I can say company A, conclusion. I can go to next steps. This is where I'm building out my action plan of what I need, what the customer needs to do. I can, text it, and I can highlight it, give it heading 1, and then drop down here. Step 2. And then Now, once I've finished and I've written all my data in, I can click on Generate Report. Now, what that's doing now is taking information, the things that we've already collected, and build out a report that you can present to your client and actually show them where they're at and what their percentage of the success rate of Copilot will be. So I'll just click on Download the report here. Now, in the report itself, it is a white label. So once you have the ability to upload your logo, you'll have your logo directly right into here. You see it's called Microsoft Copilot. It's got a table of contents. It's got a nice generated introduction. It's got executive summary. So you see your overall score. There is blocks identified. So things that you would need to actually overcome before you even actually implement Copilot, total questions, breakdown. And you can see what those blocks are right into here, right? So what type of tenant are you using? Right now, Microsoft Copilot in this area. So you find that this is a block. You can see exactly who is involved in finishing this assessment. Obviously, you see for myself, I was involved, and then there was 3 people from the company itself. Now we can see the number of files that have been shared out, 11,463 for OneDrive and 325 from SharePoint, just outside, and see exactly where they're at. Here's the breakdown of what was discovered in your cloud environment, whether that crosses email, OneDrive, and SharePoint, even to the number of files shared, and then breakdown of who has actually view and how many files actually have read-write. And this is where you can say, well, I want to know more deeper details on those things. That's when you bring back up the actual scan and you can dig down right down into it. Otherwise, this report will be 1,000 pages long or more, and you'll be cutting down 20 trees, but give them enough information to ask questions. And then you can see exactly the data sets of what was scanned. And then you start getting into the questions and the answers that were provided. So they can see and review exactly what was going on. And each individual section has its own score associated with it. So you want to get as close above to 80 to 90% overall. But in this situation, you drill down. And then as you get towards the end here, you'll start seeing where we were talking about before, your conclusion. And then you have your next steps, right? And that is then customizing that report to them and allows you to present it to see exactly where they're at from a data sensitivity standpoint, from an actual AI implementation, especially around Copilot. And this is a key thing. And this is not something that you do once and then forget about it. This is ongoing. It's that kind of GRC, the governance, risk, and compliance, and making sure that things can change. People make a configuration change, and that can impact how good Copilot is implemented, especially if you implement, the safe search, restricted search situation. Then somebody goes and makes a change to it, and that comes back and impacts your overall ability. But as I mentioned before, we look at the data sets itself as being the core component, and then we work outwards. So as I said before, we don't just do data sensitivity. We also look at the systems. So we included a risk-based vulnerability management solution in place in the platform. And that's where we go in, and we're all dashboard driven, so you can drill and see exactly your information. We do have aging associated with that for a scene, so all this kind of stuff as well. We do have a root cause analysis, so the engineers don't need to worry about CVEs, just drill right down into the root cause. And if we are able to do third-party patching, which we have built in, we're able to patch that from a third-party standpoint, but also see exactly if we have any Windows patching that needs to be done. I can drill down, I can view it, I can take a look at it, I can see what systems they're affecting, drill down into that system itself, and see what we need to do, as part of that, and actually drill down to see even further to say, okay, where are we seeing that information that's telling us that vulnerability exists, even from a standpoint of verifying to make sure that there's no false positives around that. Both internal, external results are available, but we also do external web application scanning as well, because sometimes systems that, especially if you publicize SharePoint site, you want to make sure that that doesn't have any vulnerabilities or something of that nature. So you have the ability to identify cross-site scripting, SQL injection within the platform as well, with information being provided back to your developers and so forth in there around that. Now, secure baseline, that's CIS benchmarking. You look at regulations, whether that's CIS controls version 8 themselves, to ISO, to PCI and HIPAA. They all reference around secure configurations, and they reference Center of Information Security and their benchmarks. So we bring that together. So I said before, know what data is. Are those systems that house the data, are they vulnerable? And are those systems that house the data, are they securely configured? Just having those 3 things in place of reducing your risk, your data sensitive footprint, risk mitigating your vulnerability risks, and implementing secure configuration, you can actually reduce your threat landscape by up to 60%. And that's a huge thing, but just simple basic hygiene around those 3 things can be a tremendous amount of increasing your security posture. But what we also implemented was mitigation. This is where you start bringing accountability at the user level or in the company level itself. So let's say you find sensitive data on their PC because they've got the cloud, but then you export that out to a share on their local drive. Now you're at a point in wanting to look to how to mitigate that, right? So you can see information. I can drill down into that information and I can bring it back and say, okay, who has access to that file? What was identified inside that file? And what do I want to do with it? Well, guess what? I want to delete it. Now on that machine that agent is on, I can click submit, I can delete that file. It is now tracked, and it's actually, so if I look at the name of this here, call that, so I can copy. I can go to mitigation review, and I can go into data, and I can take a look at that, if there is one. You see. Nope, where did it go? I gotta find it. There it is. Oh, typical demo. The data's not there in our demo environment. Great. But anyway, what it's supposed to show you, and I'll show you here in a second, because I'll clear this out. So if it is, I'll be able to go and see exactly what was done within that action and who performed that action and what was the justification associated with it. And the reason being is because if I assign that to an end user, which I can, or to a data owner, it can be a departmental manager, I need to track what they're doing so I can, from an auditing standpoint and attestation, then when we increase our GRC modules to other regulations, then we'll be able to incorporate that as a chain of evidence as part of that. We also include dark web, so that's there as well for people to utilize, not only for your internal domains, but also to do email address searches for people that are part of your advisory group and or part of your board that are non-employees. You want to make sure their accounts are not compromised, because if you're sending them sensitive data that's deemed sensitive by the company, you want to make sure that nobody else potentially could have access to that data. So there's a lot to the platform, a lot to it, from data, mitigating data, vulnerability, data sensitivity, all the way up through the dark web. And we have a lot more to come over the next course of the 12 months to 18 months within the platform. So we're establishing an ecosystem to be able to provide you that single pane of glass from a cyber risk management standpoint, to be proactive and not reactive. So there's a lot to it. And Kristen, I'll pass it back to you.
Man, a lot of stuff today. That was awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, let's go ahead and get this back up on the screen. Here we go. All right. Lots of live demos, everybody. So really excited to go ahead and wrap up today. There's been a lot of content, so please don't feel like, hey, you know what? We've gone through too much. I don't know where, I didn't take the right screenshot, whatever it is. You can always go and see this recorded. So if you go to youtube.com/Pax8Cloud, give us a little time, we'll get it uploaded there. But everything that we have done for our Microsoft monthly updates is all listed there, in addition to some other content that you want to check out. I do want to talk about our boot camp. It starts tomorrow. So if you are interested, there is still some space available. So if you're able to get away for tomorrow and the next day, would love to have you sign up. We'll talk all things modern work. Obviously, Copilot's going to be included, so would love to have you there. Now, I know we do a lot of different types of training, so hands-on labs are available in every region. So please make sure that you are connecting with your account team. These on the screen, specific to North America. These are free. So Pax8 covers the cost. So please make sure that you sign up. These will fill up. So we are always overbooked on these. And if somebody doesn't show up, we always try to get a last couple people in there. So please sign up. If you're not able to make it, please let us know so that way we can refill your spot. But we've had some great feedback from these, so would love to have you join them. Now, every single week, almost every single week, unless anything crazy happens like a vacation, right, y'all? So I'm on a show called Technically Unraveled. I am the host, and we have all kinds of people on. So the last person we had was Elliot Chandler, and we talked about is Copilot actually an Azure opportunity in disguise? We talk a lot of things Copilot we have on other vendors, like our great partners at Cyrisma. We just had them on a couple weeks ago. So please make sure you give us a follow, and we'd love to see you there. I'm always in the chat trying to interact with you guys and try to have a little fun, lively show while we're learning along the way. Now, we're almost sold out for Beyond. Really, really excited. I will be there. Microsoft will be one of the sponsors at Beyond 2024. There's a couple, and when I say a couple, like there might be a couple of tickets left. If you would like to go to this, please make sure that you are getting your hands on those, because as soon as they are sold out, we are out. But really excited to see you partners there. So please make sure you stop by the Microsoft booth. Come say hi to all of us. Quick resource grab. I'm going to leave it up here for just a moment if you'd like to take a screenshot of this. But like I said, you can always go back and you can go and view this on demand. That way, you can always have these resources readily available for you. All right, we are coming right up on time here. Let me see if we had any questions that we didn't get answered. All right, Ashley Moretti, I know that we said we'd bring you back, and I know you're ready for it. So we went back and forth a little bit on the Teams unbundling. I know that this gets confusing for partners. So when we say the suite, right, we're talking, you know, all the applications that go inside of it. And when you say business SKUs, if you could just help me define when you say business SKUs versus enterprise.
Yeah. Okay. So business SKUs refers to your business basic, your business standard, your business premium. These products have the option to still remain bundled with Teams, meaning you can purchase for your customer, even though it's after April 1st, a bundled version. There's also a version available that is unbundled, meaning that it does not include Teams. So if your customer does not need Teams, you have the option to purchase that unbundled version at a discounted cost. So business, basic, standard, premium have the option to go one way or another. The enterprise SKUs are going to be your commercial frontline and your commercial, so that's F1, F3, F5, and then your O, your Office E1, E3, E5, or your Microsoft E1, E3, E5. Those are considered your enterprise SKUs, and they themselves only have the option to purchase without Teams. So you get all the products, but no Teams. And if you need Teams, you have to purchase that separately. And that is for any purchase that is made after April 1st of 2024. There were a lot of questions in the chat. Well, like what happens if we already have a subscription? If you already have a subscription, that subscription will remain with services. It will include Teams. It will renew. It will go on as if Microsoft never made this announcement. The only time that those subscriptions will be impacted as of right now is if that customer moves somewhere else and they cancel their subscription and repurchase. When they repurchase, they will need to purchase without Teams. So I hope that clears up some confusion. I did put in the announcements, the link to the Microsoft announcement. There's an FAQ, there's a deck, there's all kinds of resources. So please feel free to look at that, bookmark it in case you have any immediate questions. You're not able to reach out to your account team right away, but that should help you kind of just be a cheat sheet for you to remember what is and what isn't. Also, there was a question about nonprofit. And so nonprofit, education, and US government versions of Microsoft, those will not be impacted. So those will remain as they are today as well.
Awesome. I am not letting you escape yet, so please hang out with us, Ashley. So we've got somebody asking, is it better to put Teams as an add-on to something like an E3? Is it smarter to purchase it separately? Is there any difference in it? Can you
Yeah.
just kind of talk me through that part?
Yeah, so if you already have an active subscription that includes Teams and your customer needs Teams, leave it. Don't touch it, except for if you need to make a quantity increase, do that. But otherwise, don't mess with it, because if you get into a scenario where you're in what we call an unbundled version, right? It's the Office suites, like, right, the all the applications without Teams, and then Teams as a standalone product, the price is actually more. So when you bundle them together, you're going to pay a cost increase. And so we don't want to disrupt, customer pricing. So if you have it as it is and your customer is fine with having Teams, leave it. If your customer doesn't use Teams and they use another service, you can move to the unbundled version at your renewal if you're in a commitment, and the price will be cheaper. So I think it just depends on the scenario and what your customer needs, and where they're currently at with their subscription.
All right. You knew this was going to come up, Ashley. I feel like we all knew it was going to come up. Is there any timing available that we have currently here at Pax8 for the partner-to-partner transfer tool?
So we are have the same information that you as partners have regarding the partner-to-partner transfer tool. So we do not have an indication of when this quarter this tool will be released. And so we are keeping an eye out and waiting for that announcement to drop as well. I will say that the moment it is dropped, we will review the materials that Microsoft has released, because they really haven't released much on it. We will review those materials and then send out a partner communication letting you guys know that the tool is available and how to take advantage of it if you need to through Pax8. Again, we will review the information first before sending anything out. So the announcement may land, and then it may take us, a day or so to get the communication out. But again, we want to make sure that we're providing you with clear instructions on how to use it, and we need to be able to review the documentation in order to provide that information.
Awesome. All right, everybody. We are running up on time. We appreciate you all hanging out with us this afternoon, this morning, what time it is for you. Thank you for being here, and we hope to see you next time. Bye, everybody.